All right, am I rolling? All right, what's up, beautiful people? This is your boy Geppetto the Grill back in the building. I had to, y'all know I film in my bathroom because I got a lot of stuff going on in my in my living room. I'm doing a lot, some home change up stuff, remodeling, and yeah, I just left, just got out of the shower. So if I'm looking a little extra glowy, the skin is right. Is because I just left, took a nice hot shower. I'm actually about to leave and go handle some business. But this is a review of the Bob Marley One Love movie. I saw the movie last night. Um, Great movie. I have a lot of pros and I have a lot of cons. Now, firstly, I'm going to give the movie a 7.5 out of 8. And a lot of people might be like, well, damn, well, if you like the movie, I like the movie. And so you might be like, well, damn, if you like the movie, why did you give it a 7.5 out of 8? Here's the thing. I'm West Indian. I love reggae music. And I like controversial and inspirational public figures. Bob Marley is all of the above. I'm a huge Bob Marley fan. Huge. Listening to him since I was a kid, uh, in high school and in college. Oh my gosh, hold on, y'all. What the heck? Why does everybody want to text and or call me when I'm trying to do a review? And I'm not editing because I gotta upload this straight to YouTube. But in high school and college, I did a report on Bob Marley twice. Extensive, like when people did historical figure book reports, I always chose different people. So I did Bob Marley. I actually performed. One of my reports did so well in high school that the teacher asked me to do it at like an assembly, and I had to perform as Bob Marley, and I performed Redemption Song. So I've always wanted a Bob Marley movie or a series or something like that because like I know a lot about Bob Marley just from like research or whatever. And I will say this, I was kind of nervous because I think years ago, maybe like over a decade ago, there was talks that there was supposed to be a Bob Marley movie. Maybe even like 20 years ago when I was a kid. I think I had heard that there was supposed to be a Bob Marley movie, and I remember specifically they said Lauryn Hill. I think one of Bob Marley's sons might have played Bob Marley, and Lauryn Hill was supposed to be Rita. And I could have seen it then. The problem is when you have such a complex, controversial, and important character like a Bob Marley, I don't think a movie that's an hour and a half, 2 hours is going to do him justice. You know what I mean? Let me go with the pros. I think Kingsley, British actor, I think he did an amazing job. Um, in some shots, he looked very much like Bob Marley. Like his acting was on point, his accent, the way he spoke was on point. Bob Marley was a tall, very like thin and lanky, guy. His body looked like Bob's. Like, he was very authentically Bob Marley. I think Lashana Lynch, she did a great job as Rita. Um, the music was beautiful. The cinematography, the art decoration, costume. I work in the industry, so I know all these things. It was beautiful. The editing, everything, right? Beautiful film. The cons come in where the movie felt rushed. And I feel like this would be a great movie, like a great introductory Bob Marley movie to the average person. So if you only are like a casual Bob Marley fan and you probably like, oh yeah, the guy with the locks who sings reggae, if you're that kind of person, then yeah, this movie will probably work for you. as a Bob Marley fan, as a Bob Marley fan, Bobby Nesta, I'm kind of like, man, because a lot of people is even funny that a lot of people don't know that Bob Marley is half white. Like a lot of people get shocked when they find out that Bob Marley's father was a white man. He was actually a plantation overseer. Like I knew that. Bob Marley had like a very complex early life, growing up in 9 Mile and with his mom, and like there's reports that Bob Marley used to get bullied because he was high yellow in Jamaica. So there was reports that he used to get like bullied and picked on and sometimes beat up, all this stuff. I would have loved for the movie to really go into Bob discovering his musical gift, linking up with Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer, and then forming the whale, like all of that. I wanted to like really dive into that. I would have really loved them to and like I said, the movie kind of like the movie just did like little taps into like important parts of Bob's life, because I just feel like the movie didn't have enough time. Um, I know he met Rita and he got married to Rita. And Rita and Bob had like a very, to some, a controversial relationship, because some people may consider it like an open marriage or whatnot, because when Bob met Rita, or when he married Rita, Rita already had a kid before Bob. So then Bob adopted her daughter. I think that's Sharon. I think that's the oldest one. So she became a Marley. Then Bob and Rita had 3 kids together. Um, Bob had several kids outside of the marriage, but then they never like broke up. They still were like together. And Rita had a child outside of the marriage with someone else, that Bob, he even adopted that child. So I would have liked to know, and like I said, they slightly touched on it, because they had more of like a communal type thing. Like, I would have really liked them to dive into his belief in Rastafarianism, because a lot of people sometimes that don't know, they feel like Bob helped create the Rastafarian religion, which is not true. Like Rastafarians had been around for decades, and Bob popularized it. And then I would have and they kind of touched on it like tad bit, but I would have really liked them to go in depth to how Rastafarians were treated in Jamaica at that time, because people don't understand the term dreadlocks come from the term dreadful, and like Rastafarians were like treated like shit. They were beat, some of them were killed for their religious beliefs. I would have really liked them to go deep into like, the Aita lifestyle, and like, provision and marijuana, and really dive in deep to like the beliefs of Haile Selassie. You know what I mean? I would have loved that. Um, Here's the thing too. I think the movie Ray did a good job doing this. When Bob started to get popular, and he started traveling the world, Bob Marley was a ladies' man. You know what I mean? And he had several relationships, situationship. I would have loved to see that part. Like they kind of glimpsed at oh gosh, I forgot the one. I think her name is Sydney. The one because a lot of Bob Marley's love songs were based on a lot of the different women in his life. I would have loved to see like that charming, flirtatious, like, he was a man who loved women, and he had different lovers. I would have loved to see that part explored more. Uh, I would have also, like they did touch on his assassination attempt. I would have really loved for them to go deeper into his final days. Like the reason why, even though there's like conspiracies as to why Bob died, they think it was oh, before I even go into Bob's later days, like Bob Marley to some was like a political figure, activist. Like they touched on it because Bob Marley was like a symbol of peace and freedom. You know what I mean? It was so much turmoil. Like people were getting slaughtered in Jamaica over like the two different sides of the political spectrum. Maybe would have liked them to go in a little deeper. They did talk about it some in the movie, but I wanted them to go a little bit deeper. But I would have loved for them, fast forward to what I was talking about Bob's later years when he had found out he had cancer. Like some people feel like it was an assassination attempt, but no, Bob Marley. And they did do good because I know they said Bob Marley was like he was into fitness, so he was always like jogging and running and playing soccer, and they did highlight that quite a few times in the movie. And with his belief, even though they had asked him to amputate the toe, Rastafarians, they don't believe in like amputation and stuff like that. So the cancer spread throughout his body because he didn't want to amputate. And like, he did do different treatments. And I know they said he lost his hair. And when he died, they said that in his coffin he had on a wig, like a dread wig, because he had lost his hair because of chemo. I would have loved for them to like really explore that, like those really the final days of Bob. There's reports that Bob had converted to being a Christian in like his last few weeks, like he had accepted Christ. Some say he had like denounced Rastafarianism or whatever, but they said like he had got baptized and all that before he had passed away. And I don't know, like I feel like the Bob Marley movie was good, but it was just like a sip. It was like a little morsel. I feel like I wanted like a series would have been great. Like if HBO or like Max does really good, like the Genius, like if they go and Brad Pitt's Plan B production company is behind the Bob Marley movie, so they got money. I would love it if they use Kingsley again, because Kingsley killed it. I would love them to do a series about Bob and really do like a 3 night, 2 hour per night, like really dive into Bob. Because when I was younger and I did my reports on Bob Marley and I heard he died at 36, when you're young, you think everything is old. Like I thought 36 was old. But now I'm in my 30s and I kind of look because they showed some footage of Bob like at the end of the movie in his later year, like in his last year. You could tell Bob looked, I love Bob Marley, but he looked significantly older than 36 at that time. And I don't know if it's because the cancer had really set in and like the smoking. Like you could, like when you look at some of his last interviews, Bob looked older than 36 compared to like younger pictures of him. So yeah, I think he was battling that cancer for a while. And I just really would like a redo of this, but more in depth. But like I said, I enjoyed it. The acting was superb. Shout out to Kingsley. Shout out to Lashana Lynch. I can't recall the director's name, but the director, they did some beautiful scenes, some very like cinematic scenes. I'm not going to go too deep, but there's a very beautiful scene in a field with a young Bob and a very important figure on a house. And I see how they tied stuff in. But yeah, like I said, it's because I'm a big Bob Marley fan. It was just a little tough for me, but it was a good movie nonetheless. But anyway, have you guys seen the Bob Marley movie? Let me know. Leave a comment, subscribe, like, and share. And I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Peace. This is love, is this love, is this love, is this love that I'm feeling? Alright, y'all, peace.